Hi, it's me Kuma, and for today's episode, I'm going to talk to you guys about a guide of being a furry or beginning your adventures as a furry, and what are the do's and don'ts you should look out for. And disclaimer: this video is not actually a 100% guide. It's just based on my experience. So if you want to follow this guide, it is up to you. All right. And lastly, I want to apologize to you guys that I wasn't able to make a video while in fursuit, because as we all know, in the Philippines, it's really hot in here. Even though it's almost Christmas, it's still hot. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. All right. Okay. Number 1, how do I become a furry? Simple as that. You don't need to be an artist. You don't need to have a fursuit like this one, or you actually don't need a persona of yourself anytime soon. Because if you're a furry, you can actually join our community with or without your persona. So it's actually fine. I actually have a couple of friends who doesn't have their persona yet, and later they can actually get their own persona, because a persona is something like that embodied who you are as a furry, like as animal species, or what kind of animal that embodies you. It could be a mix, or it could be just a regular bear. So once you're in the furry fandom, you should be worried that there are a lot of people with different beliefs and different ways of talking to everyone. Just like there are a couple of furries who actually like playing games, and some furries are actually love reading books and even drawing arts, and they're not actually interested in some of the interests you have. So just respect them for what they like and what their beliefs in. It's similar to when a person loves eating pineapples on their pizza, or others who doesn't like pineapples on their pizza. So just respect one another, and you'll actually get more friends that way. And once you actually got friends, I know a group of your friends will ask you, hey, let's have a fur meet. Okay, this would be your first fur meet. What should you do? First up, know the location where the fur meet will be held. Remember, you need to get your allowances from travel, from going there and going back home, as well as knowing what will be the event there. For example, if they were going to arcade, bring an extra money for you to play, or just stay there and watch them. So either way, you need to bring food as well as your own allowance, so you don't want to get stranded inside there on the fur meet alone. But that doesn't mean that other furs will not help you during that time of need. Just make sure bring your own allowances just to be safe, because not all furries carry an extra amount to help you out. All right, now you went to the fur meet, you saw your friends, and you guys are having a blast. Now I want you to understand you're currently in the real world. We're not in the fandom. So in this real world, you need to tone your furriness down a bit. Even though you are meeting with your friends online personally, it's actually fine. But you don't want to end up with this guy in this video.
Wait, you guys have no Szechuan sauce? No. I want Szechuan sauce. Where's my Szechuan sauce? I'm Pickle Rick. What below Dum Dum? I'm Pickle Rick. can't go read it!
Yes, that guy. You don't want to end up just like him. So make sure to tone it down, and everyone in public will actually not see you as a weirdo, and your friends will not actually be creeped out by it. Alright, now that you have a blast, you actually wanted to make your own persona. But what can I do? I can't draw, or you're not able to draw any kind of furry art yet. No worries, we got a lot of commissioners who will actually help you out. So there are a lot of artists in the Filipino fandom that will allow you to pay them in exchange for their talents to let them draw your persona. And by this point, their payments may differ from each artist because their art style may be different and it may take a bit longer for them to complete. And one thing to remember, there are certain artworks that you should be worried about. If you ask a commissioner or a furry for a commission art and you wanted to draw your persona in a way, they will need to ask you, how old are you? Don't take this as an offense, and I'll explain to you guys why does artists ask for your age before they draw that. Okay, before we get to that, let's get on the next one. Since you got your persona, now you wanted to get your fursuit. This is something that you should actually know. As a young fur, I know a lot of you guys would really love to get your own fursuit, as cute as this, like this one. But my recommendation is that a lot of fursuiters waited a lot of years or months for them to save enough money to make this fursuit. You wanna know why? Because fursuits are expensive. They're really expensive. So you need to actually make sure you have enough money to save for it. So that's why a lot of furries who have fursuit is a bit older or is already an adult. So if you really want a fursuit, try wearing a mask first. Because I know that's silly. You need to wear an animal mask. It's like a kiddie way to actually wear a fursuit. It's not a fursuit. But just know that you're still young. You may outgrow your fursuit, and that means you have to buy another expensive pair. The same one, same size, the same color. It means that you will need to buy a second one because equal price or even more. So we highly recommend you to save up first, and once you got enough, you can finally buy that fursuit. And if you want to buy your fursuit, try checking out Piano Creations and Dad's Wolf. The link is on the description below. You can go ahead and ask them for commissions anytime you want. Alright, the next one is, after wearing a fursuit, you actually need to know that there are a lot of ways for you to wear your fursuit. There are tons of parks. There are also tons of malls in the Philippines you can visit, so you will not tire out because it's really hot outside if you go in broad daylight in the Philippines. However, Philippines do have public fursuiters. If you have watched our podcast, we have a couple of furries who actually went to public in order to do their fursuit. Yes, it is actually a bit scary, especially with the pandemic right now. But if you actually saw one of my friends doing public fursuiting, you notice that there is always a handler. A handler's job is to prevent any kids being rough with you. And it is important to have at least one or two, but the most recommended handlers is two, because they can actually handle the crowd that's going on with you. Because children in the Philippines love to play rough, like literally they want to pull your tail out. They really want to hug you everywhere you go. So the other step is that know the place where you're going to fursuit. There are malls and parks that require you to wear permits, because we're not able to see who we are inside this fursuit. Our faces are covered and we don't know who we are, and we may cause trouble. The Philippines this is actually a security measure to make sure that you are there and not able to do harm. So you will just cosplay and have fun. This is also one of the countermeasures, so that if any bad guys will actually do this kind of thing, they can actually get arrested easily. And for you, you're actually safe because you have your permit. You have your ID right here. So remember, if you're going to visit or fursuit in the mall or private parks, make sure you contact your park administration or the mall information booth for more information that do they need a permit or not. Because some malls, like Nico told us on the previous podcast, they can actually wear the fursuit without a permit. But it's better safe than sorry. To avoid any fines, try to ask the information first for a permit. Now, you guys remember that I told you guys that commission will actually ask you for your age if you ask to be drawn in a certain type of way. There are two things that you need to remember. The furry fandom, we have NSFW and SFW. SFW is actually safe for work, good for all ages, and artworks for all ages. NSFW is not safe for work. That means it is for adult contents. So be wary of that. For younger furries, don't take it personally that if some of your friends are actually on an NSFW chat, always remember that we are doing this because they're already adults. If you're on the appropriate age, you can actually go ahead and join them. However, why do we have such measure? This is to prevent bad or troublemakers from using our fandom in the worst way. So it is strictly enforced by every admin in the furry fandom that there is always an NSFW and an SFW for minors. So if there's artists ask you for your age, that means they will not draw you an NSFW art if you are younger. And some artists may ask for your ID because we need to know if you are at legal age. And if you are at legal age, we can actually let you commission us with NSFW art. So younger furries, don't actually get mad why we did this. We're doing this to protect you all and to make sure that nothing bad happens. And it's also for your safety. And one final guide for the furry fandom in the Philippines. Please enjoy yourselves. Always remember to respect one another and have fun. Once you actually have fun, you will see the magic that the furry fandom actually has to you. Even if it's at the times like what's going on right now, we still have a lot of furry friends that can talk to you, who can actually care for you, and we can actually mingle with you. Like we can play different kinds of video games like VR chat, or we can even play your favorite multiplayer game. That is what we can do for now. However, once everything gets better, we can finally go ahead and have fun, have fur meets, and meet our friends or furry friends around the globe once again. That is all for my guide, and I hope you guys like and subscribe to this channel. And thank you so much for my 85 subscriber. It really means a lot to me. I never thought that this channel will actually grow up, and I hope we can actually grow this channel up to even 1,000 or more. And without further ado, this is Harue Kuma, and see ya and goodbye.